Dear audience, as we celebrate the spring of the year of the horse, we are honored to introduce His Excellency Iain Frew, the UK Ambassador to Vietnam. Following the historic upgrade to a comprehensive strategic partnership between our nations in late 2025, his presence today is especially meaningful. Celebrating his new year and witnessing Vietnam's new developmental era after the 14th National Party Congress, Ambassador Frew brings both high level diplomatic vision and a truly love for our culture. Thank you very much, Ambassador Iain Frew, for spending your precious time joining us today. The Lunar New Year's holiday has just ended, and this was your fourth Tet holiday in Vietnam. So, what is the most special lingering feeling from this spring compared to your very first Tet here?
So having my fourth Tet in Vietnam was a real experience, and I think it feels different every year. But the biggest difference I've noticed is when I arrived, what struck me was all the things that were new for me. So some of the traditions around Tet, like Ong Kong Ong Tao, and the tradition of honoring your ancestors at the temple, the traditions of the Tet food that teams prepare and my team in the embassy prepared. But actually, in my fourth year, what really strikes me is the similarities between the Tet season in Vietnam and the period that we have around Christmas and New Year in the UK. Because the focus of these periods is family and friends. It is reflecting on the year past and looking to the year ahead. And it's a very warm and happy atmosphere where people get to take time out together, of course, eating and drinking a lot. So I think I've come to notice those commonalities, and I really, really enjoy the Tet season in Vietnam for all those reasons.
Related to eating and drinking, what food do you like in Vietnam?
Oh, it's very hard for me to just choose one dish. But if I'm honest, when I return to Hanoi from being in the UK, the first thing I always come back for is bún riêu cua.
Hmm.
Every time. So for me, the reason is it just feels like something that I will eat when I come home.
Oh, bún riêu cua.
Yeah.
Very nice. In late 2025, Vietnam and the UK officially upgraded our relationship to a comprehensive strategic partnership during the historic visit of General Secretary To Lam. So, how do you evaluate the significance of these historic milestones and the vision for our bilateral ties in the coming time?
The visit of General Secretary To Lam and the upgrade of our bilateral relationship to a comprehensive strategic partnership were, as you say, big milestones last year, historic milestones, and really set a change in our relationship that builds on more than 50 years of diplomatic relations, 15 years of being strategic partners together, and a relationship which has broadened and deepened over that time, which is important, I think, to both sides. I think we recognize that both countries are living in a world which is facing challenges, instability, in some areas conflict, and that UK and Vietnam have really strong shared interests in helping our countries to develop and to grow, interests in preserving peace and security, both in our regions, but also together globally, and upholding an international order to support those things, whether that is the multilateral institutions like the UN or the principles of international law that we are both committed to. So I think an upgrade to our relationship, it's about practical cooperation between our countries, but it's also about a vision that we share for how we want to develop and be in the world together. So these are important things. Specifically within the UK-Vietnam bilateral relationship, I think we have set a very high ambition for the future, recognizing that as Vietnam continues to develop and to integrate internationally, that the UK wants to be a really important part of that development. We have set ambition for really fast growth in our economic and trade relationship. And we have seen new records in our bilateral trade between the two countries, building on our UK-Vietnam Free Trade Agreement and the UK's participation with Vietnam in the CPTPP regional trade agreement. But also we want to see development in areas like education, where I want to see more and more Vietnamese young people and students being able to access high quality British education. I want to see British people being able to discover Vietnam, both as tourists, but also accessing culture and opportunities related to Vietnam. I want to see our development continue in new areas of economic growth, like technology, where we have potential to collaborate on AI and semiconductor development, to the International Financial Centre being established in Ho Chi Minh City and Da Nang, where the UK has been really closely involved, and doing all of this in a way that is sustainable and integrates the green transition.
Following the success of the 14th National Party Congress, Vietnam is confidently entering a new era, the era of the nation's rise. From a diplomat's perspective, how do you assess Vietnam's breakthrough potentials, and how can the UK accompany Vietnam on this new development path?
I was really impressed to see at the 14th Party Congress a very open and a very forward looking vision for how Vietnam can develop in partnership internationally, and setting very clear and high goals for Vietnam itself, socio-economic development, for Vietnam's role in the world, supporting an active diplomacy. And I think that the UK and the UK's strengths align really well with this. So the UK's science and technology base is really strong. UK universities are already building partnerships with their counterparts here in Vietnam. And that, I think, is going to help to spur, in this new era of greater economic development, new innovations and new ideas. And at the same time, I think that we are going to see across important areas of our economies, like, for example, healthcare. The developing healthcare sector in Vietnam is, again, growing very fast, responding to people's needs. And the vision set out at the Party Congress is to provide high quality healthcare. We have a journey in the UK to share, expertise and experience to share, but also we face challenges together like aging populations, global health challenges like antimicrobial resistance, and we want to work together on those. And I think the vision that's been set out at the Congress provides that expansive opportunity for international partnership. I should finally say, as a diplomat, I was very pleased to see diplomacy elevated to being of an equal status to defense and security in advancing Vietnam's interests, because I do believe that diplomacy is key to maintaining stability, to creating an environment in which everyone can reach their full potential.
With the UK officially joining CPTPP with Vietnam's strong support, alongside the solid foundation of the UK VFTA, how do you foresee the landscape of economic, trade, and investment cooperation between our two countries in 2026? Which sectors will benefit the most?
I have been very pleased to see the rapid growth of our bilateral trade relationship in recent years. And last year, that increased to £10.4 billion, an increase of over 40% on the previous year. Now, that is very significant, and it was underpinned by both our bilateral free trade agreement as well as the UK joining CPTPP. This year, Vietnam is chairing the CPTPP grouping, and we have high ambitions for that grouping to continue to expand while maintaining high standards, and to deepen the agreement so that this group of countries, which has a shared vision for open trade, for high standards, and for shared prosperity, can remain attractive and can remain at the forefront of international trade at a time when, as we know, the challenges of new tariffs and instability in global trading arrangements face all of our countries. So I believe that in that uncertain environment, CPTPP and relationships like the ones we have between our countries can underpin stability in international trade and also seize new opportunities. So we have seen, as part of the great growth in our bilateral trade, growth, for example, in the agriculture and agri-trade sector. So British consumers are increasingly able to enjoy Vietnamese agricultural products like cashews, like coffee, like durian and lychees, all exported now to the UK from Vietnam, while Vietnamese consumers are enjoying high quality UK food and drink, from cheese to whiskey to pork and poultry products. And I'm very pleased to see this, because it means that our consumers, the people at the end of all of these value chains, are getting to see the benefits of our trade deals. So I want to see us build on the agriculture sector, market access between our countries. And I want to see us take advantage of some of the newer areas. The financial sector and the International Financial Centre is an opportunity for us to build out this important sector in Vietnam. But an international financial centre will also unlock financing and capital for investment here in Vietnam. And I think it's a signal to international investors of the potential that Vietnam's market has now and will continue to have in the future.
As a co-chair of the International Partners Group, the UK is actively supporting Vietnam within the Just Energy Transitions Partnership (JETP) framework. especially with the recent announcements of the clean energy and green finance partnership. What are your expectations for breakthroughs to help Vietnam realize its net zero commitments?
Vietnam has set out a very clear goal to reach net zero by 2050. But as Vietnam's economy develops rapidly, this is a big challenge. We have a similar goal in the UK, and it's equally a challenge because it requires us to make transitions in our economy, transitions in energy generation, but also transitions in agriculture, in infrastructure and transportation, and it affects all of our lives. So I'm very proud that the UK is co-chairing the Just Energy Transition Partnership because this is a path that the UK has been on over the past 10 to 15 years, where we have transitioned from 40% of our power grid powered by coal to now today 0% of our power grid powered by coal. And at the same time, a huge expansion of wind power, including offshore wind and some solar energy. Vietnam has such enormous potential for both solar power generation and wind power generation onshore, but with Vietnam's very long coastline, fantastic potential in offshore wind generation. So one of the aims of the partnership is to help to boost renewables generation here, bring investment, bring technology, and bring ways of operating power systems that can support Vietnam to take maybe not 10 or 15 years, maybe less than that, to build up rapidly renewables generation. Now, Vietnam is already on this path, and we've seen fantastic progress in solar power generation, but I think that there is much further to go. And we're working closely with the Vietnamese government on how to modernize the regulatory framework, how to ensure that the investment provided both within the framework of the JETP and also the private sector internationally can be harnessed and directed towards the projects with the greatest potential. So that's what we're doing now. These projects, energy storage projects, energy grid projects, to ensure that the national grid across Vietnam can get the energy to where it's needed for industrial growth. And those new energy plants are all being established. So we've seen some initial steps. We need to work harder together to ensure that this expansion of renewable energy keeps pace with rapid economic growth in Vietnam.
So we are both looking forward to see that.
We are looking forward to see it. And it's part of a broader picture, as I mentioned. It's a part of a picture in which all of the new infrastructure being built in Vietnam needs to support low carbon development, in which we recognize that preserving Vietnam's incredible nature and biodiversity, these are assets for the country, not just things we enjoy, but things that are important for the economy and for Vietnam's future. And so our vision is broader than just energy, but it's about how do we ensure that the country that Vietnam becomes in 2045 is both high income and green and sustainable.
Could you share more about the Vietnam Commodity and Derivatives Exchange project that the UK government is working on with the Ministry of Industry and Trade and Boston Consulting Group?
So, Vietnam's initiative to establish an international financial center and modernize its financial markets has created huge opportunities for the country. And the project that we are supporting through the UK's Growth Gateway, partnering with the Ministry of Industry and Trade and Boston Consulting Group, is designed to help expand and modernize the commodities derivatives market here in Vietnam. Now, some important steps have been taken by the government. Directive 330 last year opened up the modernization in a number of areas of commodities exchanges. What will this mean in practice? Well, a commodities exchange is an opportunity for sectors of the economy, from mining to farming, to those which plug in internationally like gold markets, to really access the best prices in the markets, to offer products and services in a way that reaches out globally, and to ensure that we're operating efficiently so Vietnam can improve its market efficiency, attract more investment, and become more of a financial hub. So this project aims to build capacity, to benchmark where Vietnam is versus some of its peers and other high potential markets globally, and to show the path towards the development of Vietnam's commodity derivative market. So that will be specific to Vietnam's needs, but drawing on international expertise using this project. The UK has been proud to be part of this, and we will continue to work with Vietnam on modernizing the financial sector.
Your Excellencies, could you tell us more about the UK's government's legal support for the International Finance Corporation, IFC?
So the International Financial Centre has a number of aspects to it. This is a big project over many years to come, but the initial steps involve establishing a centre with financial market participants and structures to resolve disputes, including a specialised court which is being established in the IFC. Now, this specialised court is a new mechanism. It means any investor, any participant who's coming to Vietnam who wants to invest will be able to bring any disputes or contract issues to this court, knowing that this court has the right setup in order to resolve those disputes. And that confidence and that trust that is created will attract even more capital towards the IFC and towards Vietnam. One of the really important elements of the court is the legal basis that is provided. And I've been really excited to see the incorporation of common law into the IFC specialized court. The UK is working with Vietnam's Supreme People's Court on the development of this new specialized court and the incorporation of common law principles into it. Globally, 40% of commercial contracts are governed by common law. And for international investors, it is one of the ways in which they can immediately see that a jurisdiction or a country is going to give confidence for deals to happen. So we're working on this together. This is one aspect, I think, of a wider structure, the set of structures being set up for the Ho Chi Minh City and Da Nang international financial centers. And it's very exciting because with this, we're going to see new opportunities for business, new investment coming in, and with the right setup, a lot more participants, both domestic, Vietnamese banks and institutions, but also international. And I know that UK banks, insurers, and other financial market players are already getting involved.
Thank you. While education, skills training, and professional financial services have always been core focuses of cooperation between the two countries, in the new era, how will the UK continue to support and equip Vietnam's younger generation with the necessary skills for the future economy?
One of the things I'm always struck by in Vietnam is how seriously Vietnamese families and young people take education and investment in their skills and in their future. And it's very impressive. And it is an area where I think the UK has a lot to offer. I'm very proud of the more than 75,000 Vietnamese students who have studied in the UK. We want to encourage more to come and study in the UK, where there are fantastic higher education and other professional education and schooling options. But I'm also especially pleased and proud to see that the educational offers from the UK are increasingly available here in Vietnam. So we are seeing many schools using British and English language curricula that draw on the best of UK education. I've been celebrating the opening of some new schools, for example, like Ardingly College here in Vietnam. But we're also seeing great partnerships being established in the higher education sector. So UK universities partnering with Vietnamese institutions to offer courses, to offer options that are accredited internationally to young people that want to define their careers and their futures here in Vietnam, but in an international mindset. So we've seen those transnational education partnerships really grow. And on top of that, young professionals in Vietnam growing their skills using international standards. So for example, within the International Financial Centre, those could be accounting skills, legal skills, where there are international accreditation and professional bodies from the UK very active here in Vietnam in helping to offer those courses and those developments. And alongside this, I've seen already in my years here a real attention, a real focus on English language tuition. And I'm very impressed to see the Ministry of Education and Training have now taken up the instruction, the decree by the government to incorporate English as a second language in education across Vietnamese education. That's a big challenge. It's a big challenge for educators and teachers and institutions and for the students themselves. But it's also a big investment in the future because we know the world's business language is English. We know that opportunities are opened up, yes, to the UK, but also to the world by learning English. So we are supporting that in collaborating and bringing some of the best UK English language tuition companies to Vietnam in the work that the British Council does here in Vietnam and with the Ministry of Education and Training. And we're really going to build on this because I think there's a generational change which has just started in English language capability. And it is about education, but it's about all of the great ways in which we connect through literature and culture, through Premier League football, all the ways in which we can continue to build that.
While Vietnam is planning to promote English as a second language in the near future, which will be a major challenge, as we said before, does the UK have any plans to accompany and support Vietnam in this effort?
We absolutely do. The UK is working with the Ministry of Education and Training to bring some of the companies and technologies which are going to help the next generation, both in schools and in their own tuition, in private lessons or learning, to improve their English language skills. So we have brought an education mission last year to Vietnam of companies. Some of those are traditional publishers in education like Pearson, many are familiar with from their school textbooks, but others are bringing new technology and AI to English language learning so that young learners can have responsive packages of learning, not one path and one method, but ways which respond to what they need and respond to their circumstances, whether they be in a big city or a more rural area of Vietnam. We want to ensure that the offer is accessible to as many people as possible in Vietnam. So we've got some great cooperation already underway, but as the Ministry of Education and Training and as each province defines how it's going to deliver on this vision, we're going to work with them to help do that.
I see. Well, although the Tet holiday has concluded, the vitality of spring is still spreading. Entering the new year of the horse, would you like to send a special message or wish in Vietnamese to the readers of Nhân Dân newspaper?
Of course, I would love to send a special message. So, chúc mừng năm mới và chúc các bạn hạnh phúc, sức khỏe và thành công cho năm Bính Ngọc.
Wow, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Iain Frew, for taking the time to share your profound and inspiring insight with us today. Wishing you a year of the horse filled with health and success.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to join you.
Thank you. Dear audience, we hope Ambassador Frew's inspiring talk show today have further deepened our spirit of friendship and solidarity. May the comprehensive strategic partnership between Vietnam and the UK continue to flourish and achieve even greater milestones in this new era.